Hello, everyone. Is Brent the Oregon Stacker? What is going on out there, man? Good to see you, Josh C. Man, you guys, just was over at JC Stackers. My niece was on the phone. You guys got to see her if you're over there. She's over in Cebu right now. And I know a lot of my YouTube community because I tell you guys sometimes about my Philippine travels. I own a home over in Cebu. And man, I always love to share my passion for Philippines and just my passion for traveling. And I really haven't had time to do that. And so, man, this is going to be a late stream for a few hours where you guys can fire away on your questions. We'll drop the link if you want to join the panel. Feel free. We're going to talk about traveling, Asian travel, maybe your guys' experiences as well. Yeah, just have a good time and a hangout. Good to see you, Josh, my buddy. So, I have a lot of experience with the Philippines in general, mainly the central Philippines and southern Philippines. I've also been to South Korea, mainly the Incheon, Seoul area. I would land in Incheon and I'd have my long 12-hour layovers and we'd go to Seoul. I have been to Hong Kong. I have been to Taipei over in Taiwan. Um, so I have experienced quite a bit of the Asian experience. We've got Herman in the house. And I'll tell you guys, one of the benefits you got right now is you got that awesome exchange rate. Even though inflation has gotten higher, which it has, I can tell you back in about 2012 when I was going over there, I was getting about 40, 42 pesos. Now it's 56 to 58. Actually, we had a friend come over visiting from Cebu. Meredith's friend was getting 60 at the mall. And that's another thing that you find out, man. Whatever they post online, you will find you'll get different rates, and that is part of traveling when you're in the Philippines. This is over in Dumaguete or Bohol, another island in the Philippines. You will find when you go to the malls, you get a different exchange rate depending on where you're at in the mall. I'll drop these pictures for a moment so you guys can see me talking. Probably don't like seeing my banners up there. Let me go up here. That picture right there, that was back in about 2006. You can see I've got this big old VHS cassette recorder. Now everyone uses cell phones. Anyways, that was me. Uh, so yeah, you guys, and I dropped the link. I should pin it if anyone wants to come up. It's in the chat. Before I met my wife back in 2000, I grew up in a middle class American family. Typical. I never traveled outside the United States. Mom and dad had a camper. We traveled around the United States. And it's when I met Meredith. It's when I met Meredith that I started to adventure, right? Because I met a wife who lived overseas and she wanted to go visit her family. And I'll tell you the truth, my first time I went over there, I was very nervous. I didn't know what to expect. It's like anything. It's probably like when you got behind the wheel to drive your car for the first time, you've got that nerves, like, oh my God. And once the airplane landed and I got over there after a day, I was like, wow, I'm having the time of my life. I should have been over here a lot earlier. And you find that out when you travel, different cultures, different experiences. But to give you guys an idea, my dad, when I was in high school, he took us to Hawaii. He took us to Kona on the Big Island. And that was supposed to be our big trip for me and my sister before we graduated high school. And I remember how much, this is 1996, and dad dropped a lot of money on that trip. And I'm like, man, if only I knew how beautiful the Philippines was, if I could go island hopping. And that's my wife and my niece Lisa, who you guys saw tonight over on Jeff. So I thought I'd bring that picture up. They got the beautiful white sand beaches, the beautiful coral reefs, the beautiful swimming. I don't need to spend, 500 a night to stay in my hotel and have an awesome experience. I could spend $10 a night and have an awesome experience. And that's what you find out when you go to some of these amazing countries. Yeah, and Zilla is correct. A lot of these folks, they love you, they treat you like kings. Um, I'm going to show you guys a funny picture. This was actually me and two of my nephews. Now the one in the middle, he's actually in Canada right now. Jet, the one on the far left, he's still in Cebu. But they called this burger the American burger. This was probably back in 2009. And if you can eat, that's a huge hamburger, guys. If you can eat that whole hamburger right there, you actually get you actually get your meal for free, Josh. You don't even have to pay. If you can eat that whole burger, you get it for free. I mean, it's so fun over there, man. Experiences like this, Um, and they called that the American burger. That's pretty funny. That was back in, like I said, about 2000. I'm going to say that picture was probably about 2009. And yeah, and like Josh is saying, yeah, isn't that crazy? Jay Ketch and Silver, if you could eat that whole burger, man, you would get that for free. And I think the cost on that whole meal. Now we had tall milkshakes. I don't have a picture on that right now, but the milkshakes were probably like, dude, this tall, chocolate, vanilla. That whole meal, guys, cost me like $10. $10. It's insane, and everyone's having a good time. Um, oh man, here's funny Oregon stacker. So a lot of times when you go into the malls over there, now I'm gonna guess, Zilzilla, this is I talked to my grandmother who's in her 90s, and she talks about the days where you would go up to a cash register and it wasn't like today, like they'd have to hand type the UPCs, and that's how Cebu was in the Philippines when I first started going over there. Now it's getting a little more modernized. uh, and they still have a couple people at your checkout, but they would have literally five people when I'd go to check out. They literally have a couple people taking it out of your cart, putting it on the belt. They literally have one lady typing in and one lady reading off the UPC off of each item in the grocery cart, right? She's going to read off the UPC code. They're going to hand type it in. And then you got one person on the end bagging it. It's like a five-person operation. And then when that whole operation's over, guys, they bring it out to your car and unload it in your car. I mean, customer service like you wouldn't imagine. Um, if you look at this picture, I think this is like 2012. I'd point this out. These were sales ladies. My wife is there in the white hat, Meredith. These are sales ladies, though, and their job there was to sell jeans, and they would put costumes on you, deck you out, and they make a commission on selling clothing. And so clothing, when you go to the grocery store, you will have people uh, that would that would sample things, right? Like ketchups, mustards, jellies. They literally have like a little section in the grocery store. Like you'd have like two or three bays. Imagine you're in a Safeway. I don't know. Maybe you're at Costco. Imagine a big Costco bay, and they've got ketchups and mustards, and they sample that. And how they make a commission is you buying that product as you go up to the grocery counter. Like they have to hit a quota and sell so much in that day. How crazy is that? Um, Experiences. You leave the grocery store and you spin a big wheel to see what kind of prize you win. I mean, all these experiences, guys. I felt like on my first trips to Philippines from like 2000 to 2015, that's probably how my great grandparents experienced going to the grocery store as children. And that's what was really cool to me is I was experiencing new cultures and how it must have been before technology kind of took over. Um, and so if you were like me before I met my wife and you haven't really traveled outside the states in some of these countries, that's the biggest thing I can give to you is it's those experiences that you're just like, wow, you're never going to find that, on a trip to Europe or a trip to the States. You won't get things like that. Here's my son when he's a little guy. You guys know Kyle, he's 16 now. So this is probably me. We were down near Alquay. Oh man, as a young man, Kyle's probably, I don't know, maybe about 4 years old there. Here he is again. So a lot of times what happens here, you'll see it says Santander Cebu. So if you got the map, this is on the southern very tip of the Philippines. And we got on a boat. And you go down there and you wait for your boat. And then you island hop. We were on our way, I think, this trip to either Bohol or Dumaguete. And that's about a 45-minute boat ride. Gosh, you guys, probably about $5. $5 to island hop on a cool boat, man. Good to see you, Kayla. I'm just talking Philippines, talking about traveling, man, doing a hangout. I dropped the stream if someone wants to pop up. You guys can share your adventures. Uh, yeah, I've never been to Alaska. I have been to my only experience really is with that. It would be Canada. I have been in the Vancouver area a couple of times. Very expensive city, man. Vancouver, Canada, you guys. Oh my goodness. Very, very expensive. No joke. So yeah, this is on Cebu. I mean, this island's got everything you want, right? Here we are. We're getting ready to ride the quads. That's me messing around there. This is probably about 2017. That's Jet there. Um, this was a place called Papa Kit's in Cebu, and you can rent quads. You can do climbing. You can do zip lining. Pretty much anything you want, they've got. That is awesome. I haven't been to either one of those places. I would love to go to Israel someday. Yeah, isn't that a really cool picture, Kyle? Some of these photos I have preloaded. So I think this was this was actually my good friend Scott. He married a Filipina. They were staying at our house. This is actually inside my house in Alquay in the kitchen area. That was his mom and dad. They had never. I don't believe they ever had traveled outside the United States. Um, and so this is a good picture here. I don't have my big refrigerator in there yet. But they have the water tank there, and that's what you notice a lot in the Philippines. Um, especially being a foreigner, if you travel to Asia, you want to make sure you're careful with the water you're drinking because our bodies, guys, are not used to it. You can get extremely sick. So you always want to make sure you're drinking a filtered water or a bottled water that's been filtered in the store. You want to stock up on that. So you can see we got the filtered tank there. We're just doing a chat hangout, Patrick. I'm doing a chat hangout. Yeah, same thing with Mexico. Mexico is the same way. You got to be extremely careful. You're going to get sick. Man, they got all kinds of cool things. So, guys, this is Josh. This is on another island in the Philippines. This is the island of Boracay, and I'll tell you guys, man, yeah, they said that they've cleaned it up. I honestly couldn't recommend it. Boracay is like the Cancun of Mexico, right? It's like the Honolulu of Hawaii. Um, they have a long beach. They call it Station 1, Station 2, Station 3 as you go down the beach line. This is one of the taverns there. This is around Station 2. And this is the Hobbit Tavern, right? So it's a cool experience though, right? If you go there once, you get these experiences. It's awesome. But it's so expensive there, man. I mean, I went there for the experience, and I'm not going to joke, guys. We probably spent $100 a night to stay there. It's a tourist area. But if you want to go out in the boat and do the parachute behind the boat, we did that. If you want to do all those cool things, oh, that's the place to be. Boracay. It's so expensive, but it is a cool experience. You get experiences like that you don't find on other places in the Philippines. This was probably I wasn't thinking. This is me in 2009. This is actually on the island of Negros, Dumaguete Negros area. Philippines has over 7,000 islands, but I'd say probably about 40 of them are big. The rest of them are small. And the one thing I didn't think about, and I thought about this later on when I got back to my hotel as I'm staying on this island, is, oh my God, Oregon, what is around me in this picture, right? Because literally I'm hiking imagine hiking in the forest here in the Philippines, guys. And, it's like anything tropical, right? You can just imagine what's out in the trees and everything. Even though it's very beautiful and I'm having a great time, I really wasn't watching my surroundings here, and I probably shouldn't even been out there on those slippery rocks. I was not smart, but there you go. That's me. And just another cool experience, man. On that trip, trying to think, All these islands have something unique and different. Something unique and different. If you want to see Kyle Little, Jay Catch and Silver, there you go. That's me. That's Kyle. Oh my goodness, this is probably back like in 2008, 2009, 2009. I guess Kyle's probably about, I don't know, maybe 3 there. But that is little Kyle there. Tigers. I'm not sure if they have the Tigers in there, but yeah, I just wasn't thinking when I think of that photo. I just wasn't really thinking. We hiked way in there, and probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. Oh man, I've got, I don't know how many photos I have in here downloaded. I want to show you guys. Let me see if I've got. Yeah, I do. This is what I would encourage you guys to do if you go to the Philippines. This was one of the big things to do there, and it's on the Travel Channel now. This is in Oslab, Cebu, and to give you guys an idea, my wife's, how would that work? My wife's family member, I'll just say, was the mayor of a town called Delegate, which is just before Alcoy in the southern provinces of Cebu. It's like counties. Like in Oregon, we got about 36 or 38 counties. Cebu's divided up kind of in the same way. So you would have Delegate, then Alcoy, then Oslab, right near Santander if you looked at the Cebu map. So this is about 4.5 hours south of Cebu City. And these sharks, Patrick, are sharks that are not gonna hurt you, man. They're just eat little plankton. You can see them at the surface. They are whale sharks, man. They are not gonna hurt you. Um, the only thing, the only thing possible that I could say on this, when I've swam with them, is one time I had two of them side beside me, and the only thing that kind of scared me is they were giving me some space, but I was just scared that if they came together and you know, they're probably a big enough animal that if they ran into you on each side, it probably wouldn't be good, if you know what I mean. But other than that, no issues. Actually, there's hundreds and hundreds of tourists every day that swim with these whale sharks. A lot of them come from Japan, South Korea, Australia, a lot of Europeans, a lot of Germans. Um, so yeah, they come down and they swim with the whale sharks. I'm just snorkeling here. I don't even have a snorkel on that picture. I don't think, just the mask. I'm swimming with them. You can actually rent dive gear if you really want to do it, and it's probably, man. Honestly, it's probably only like 40 feet there. You could probably just drop to the bottom. Some people like to get the scuba gear on, but honestly, you don't need to. You can just do what I do here. I think it's cooler just to swim near the surface by them. But they won't hurt you, man. It's an experience. They'll swim all around you. Um, there's actually people there. There's a lot of people that are trying to make money. So hey, would you like me to take a picture of you? I'll take a picture. They'll take pictures for you there, man. So that's Oslab Cebu. That was actually featured on the Travel Channel. That is about 20 minutes from my home in Alcoy. It's the experience. I tell my sister that she's got to go. It's the experience of a lifetime, man. Imagine going to, I just say it like this. Imagine going to SeaWorld and seeing all the cool dolphins. You can look at them, but you can't swim with them, right? Here you get to swim, get right close to them, right with them. Good to see you, Anna. I'm crazy. So yeah, those are the whale sharks, man. I don't know what else I have loaded up in here. This is in the mall. Give you guys get just this will give you guys an idea what's a mall like in Asia. Take us with you, yeah. So what's interesting with the Philippines is, I would say, I mean, at least out here where I live in Oregon, their malls are probably like the malls were here in the 1990s. In the 1990s, when we had the mall here where I live, the movie theater was in the mall. Everything was done in the mall. People were shopping. We didn't have all this Amazon, all this internet shopping. The malls were hustling and bustling. They were packed full of people. So that is what the Cebu malls are like, guys. They are like the malls we had in the 90s, right? The grocery stores in there, the bowling alleys in there. The new mall they just opened up in Cebu has an ice skating ring on the third floor, a full blown ice skating ring, man. Arcades packed full. It is just like your experience in the 1990s in the United States. And you get your, if you're looking for your American cuisine when you're over there, Pizza Hut, McDonald's. They've got TGI Fridays, right? Starbucks, all those like American amenities. Burger King, right there in those malls. You can literally go over there and get your American food, man. You feel like you're back at home. Um, I am. Let's see what it says. Hut Feast. We are actually in Pizza Hut, I believe, here on this picture. We haven't got our food served yet, but looking at the red benches and how it says Hut Feast in the back, I believe this actually is a Pizza Hut that we are in. Make the malls here look like a corner store. Yeah. So, um, what's nice about what's nice about this, that's the cool thing about Cebu. It has the experience for everyone, man. You've got the white sand beaches. You got like the whale sharks you can go swim with. All your diving, you're swimming. Sometimes what happens though when a foreigner gets to Philippines, I'll give you an example. Let's say someone from California. I like using the West Coast because over here in the West Coast, we're a dry climate. We don't get the humidity like, for example, you get on the East Coast. So you leave Oregon, California, you land in Cebu. The first thing you're going to say is, "Oh my God, it's so hot here," because you're getting that humidity, and it takes a little while for your body to get adjusted to that weather, that climate. The malls are always cool; they're air conditioned. Um, so sometimes during the day it just gets too hot. Some foreigners can't take the heat, and they're like, "I've got to cool down." So a lot of times they will go to the malls just to cool down for a little bit, especially during the middle of the day if they're out and about, because it is very hot in the Philippines. So if you're near the coast, I mean, if you're near the ocean, you're getting that ocean breeze. It's one thing, but if you're in about the cities, it can get very, very hot. Yeah, that is true, Zilla Zilla. Yeah, so you don't have any problems with it. Coming to Asia as it's a humid climate. Louisiana, you'd be used to the humidity, so it wouldn't really bother you, Roseanne. You could probably get adjusted to it right away upon landing. I say that because an example, that picture that I was showing to Scott and his parents, they had a hard time adjusting to the weather when they first got there, and that's common. A lot of people have a hard time adjusting um, when they get there to the weather. Showing you guys the meals. Um, Man, I got a lot of photos I can pull up to share. I just don't have that many loaded in here. But yeah, humidity gets the mainlanders. Um, yeah, that's a I didn't realize it's funny because some of these islands actually are really big. And going to Cebu so many times, I'm like, I've been all over this island. There's probably not a place I hadn't seen, and that's not true, man. Speaking of altitude, there's a place called Osmania Peak, which is a big, tall mountain in Cebu. And believe it or not, it actually gets cold on the top of that thing. I'd have to, I pull it up and look at it here in a moment. I'm kind of curious how tall that peak is. But yeah, you can hike the mountains and get to those colder climates for sure. Um, and they do. That's another thing. Josh C brings up a good point. Josh C. So one of the things they do over there, guys, is they do singing in the restaurants. All right. Let's say it's your birthday. It's someone's birthday or a special day. They will actually, you can tell them, they'll actually come beside your table and they will literally sing. They will sing like for a while. It's pretty awesome, man. Someone was actually showing me a video somewhere in the Philippines, and I don't know where that is. They actually serve your food and do everything on roller skates. something different. Kind of like the closest thing to that I would say we have here is Sonic out here. I don't really see him on the roller skates anymore, but yeah, the singing though, man, singing right when you're eating, it's quite an experience, man. And I'll share with you guys. So one thing you talk about when you go to the Philippines, I'll show this one first, is obviously your exchange rate. This is off Yahoo Finance. This is the highest exchange rate that I've ever seen. 58.68. Let's do a 5-year chart. Look at that. Back in this was before I even started going there. So back in about '05, '03, they were getting 55. I really started around '06 was when I made my first trip. So 52. Yeah, it's been 40 in the 42 to 45 range. The thing of it is though, it's kind of like what happened here, inflation. That's what I noticed when I do my trips, even though I would honestly say probably when I was getting like 48, 49 to 50 would be the same as getting 58 today, due to the fact that cost of goods is so much higher. It's probably honestly right now about the same as when you're getting 48 to 50. Now, what does that mean? What can you buy for that? Um, to give you guys an idea, a bottled water in the market was about 10 pesos. What would that be? I don't know, like 20 cents roughly for a bottled water. Um, very cheap over there, man. Very cheap. And I would go to the nicer places, to be honest. I wasn't going to the cheapest place. I never saw an LCS over there when I would go over there, man. I never saw an LC. Now, I have talked to friends now because I wasn't really doing a lot of this gold and silver. And then we had the pandemic hit. So I've heard that they have a lot of gold and silver, like in the pawn shops around Cebu City. Um, they do have a lot of pawn shops. I never noticed a coin shop. There probably is one. I just need to hunt and find it. I haven't seen one though, hunting around the malls and stuff. I do know in South Korea they have LCSs. But Philippines, at least where I was at, Cebu South, I never did see one. But there is a lot of pawn shops over there. Um, so I know there's a lot of deals to be had. Definitely though, the big thing over there is you'd want to bring something like a Sigma with you so you could test it just to make sure you're getting what you think you're getting for sure. So you'd have to bring something with you to test it. The Sonic. I'll give you guys an example if you ever go there. I'm gonna pull up Google Earth right now because I think this will be the easiest way to describe this. Love Google Earth, man. So cool. So you'll see the Philippines here with all these big islands. Cebu's gonna be this guy right here. There's two main international airports in the Philippines. So if you fly into Cebu, where you're going to land is MAC-10 International Airport, which is right there. So believe it or not, when you land here in the Philippines, you're actually not even landing in Cebu. This would be considered another island, MAC-10 Island. And then you're going to cross the bridge and go into Cebu City. So this island right here, where you land, MAC-10 Airport, there's a lot of 5-star, 4-star hotels around here. A lot of resorts. Um, they've got resorts here. Man, some of them have like big water parks. So you'll notice a lot of foreigners will stay on MAC-10 Island. Um, and your first time you go there, it's not a bad thing, right? It's your first time going there. You're getting your feet wet. You're experiencing the Philippines. I'm trying to find. You can see how big these hotels are, though. I mean, they're monsters. Look at that thing. But there's one I want to show you guys. Where is it? It's got like a water park and everything. But yeah, if you search this like on Google, Mac 10 Island hotels, look at this hotel. They got all kinds of pools and stuff in here. lagoons. Look at that thing. But yeah, this is where you're going to get all your 4 or 5-star hotels right there on Mactan Island. So I'll give you guys an idea what I was showing you where those whale sharks are at. So after you land, you're going to land here at the airport. You're going to go through passport check control. First thing they're going to do is they're going to give you a 30-day free visa stamp. That means you're free to go about anywhere in the Philippines for 30 days, free of charge, man. No cost to you as an American citizen. If you want to stay longer than 30 days, you're hanging out, you're having a great time, and you say, "Oh my God, I don't want to leave the Philippines. I want to stay 59-day visa. Gonna run you about $60, man, and you can stay for 2 months." We got Mad Stacker in the house. So I'm going to show you guys here. So when I go to Philippines and I land here and I cross this bridge, if I want to go down to Alcoy, it's going to be about a 5-hour drive because right here, this is Cebu City, Talisay. When I cross that bridge, I'm going to go down a road over here called the SRP. It's going to be right there. So imagine this is a city of about 800,000 people when you cross that bridge. The island itself is about 3 million. So there's about 800,000 people crammed in here. It's very, very busy. Big city action. So that's one reason why it's going to take you. You're going to go all the way down here. You're going to go down this SRP. You're going to go down. There's Delegate, where Meredith's family was the mayor. Here's Alcoy. I'll show you guys my house in here. I've got a house right on the beach. Bojon, Oslab. This is where you're going to go for the whale sharks. Those whale sharks are going to be right in here. They call it Butangin. See if we can find it. I don't know if I'll be able to find it on Google Earth. But this is all white sand beach here, guys. This is all white sand beach with the reef. Seeing if I can find those whale sharks for you. Kind of hard to do on Google Earth. Maybe in here. That looks like a foreigner area. Maybe a big pit. Maybe. That could be it. And then they take you out to feed the whale sharks. But anyways, that's where you'd go. You go to Oslab, Cebu. So if you scroll back, you look at Oslab right in here. And we blow out the map. And you see where Cebu City is. If my cursor, you can see up in here. This is a good 5-hour drive, man. 5 hours to get down here. So what you notice on Cebu Island is there's a lot of places in here where they're building hotels down here in the bottom, Santander, Oslab. They're building a lot of hotels for foreigners, so they don't. You can imagine that's a long day, right? 5-hour drive. You go all the way down here to Oslab. You're with your family. You swim with the whale sharks. There's also a lot of waterfalls you can see down there. And then maybe you come up here. There's another island. I think it's actually right here. A beautiful island you could see. That's not it. That's the reef. Where is it at? There's actually, get my bearings straight here. I think it's right here, actually, maybe. If it says it. There's an island you can go to. I want to say it's Samolon Island. And people will stay there overnight. It's a beautiful little tiny island out there. Looks like a turtle. It's actually a big island. I mean, like I said, this whole island right here, just to get from Cebu down there is about 5 hours. Now, my home, I'll show you guys where I'm at. Well, I'm in Alcoy. All right, let me get my bearings. Find where Giwong is. I am right by a big German who built a monstrosity next to me, and I just laugh about it. So it'll be easy to find Giwong. Let me get back here, Alcoy. Sometimes Google Earth is easy for me, and sometimes it's not. That is not it. Does I know my road? Let me go down the main road. That is not my road. Where are we at? Alcoy Municipal. Okay. So we'll go through here. I'm gonna find my house for you guys. We're trying to find my house, our house, babe. Right there. There it is. Maris goes, yep, this is the road right here. So you go down. This is the main road. You go down this road, and there's a basketball court here. This is a, oh, what do I want to say, babe? What do they call that? Barangay. This is a barangay hall right here. And you go down this road, and there's actually some construction going on in this area now. It's been built up. But you guys can see this picture does not do justice on a Google Earth. This is actually water. This big, huge, monstrous thing, a German built this thing right by me. You can see this is my house right here with my gazebo. It's kind of blurry. So you go in the driveway. This is all paved driveway here. This is water. Right out front of this gazebo is water, man. You can see there's a little, they call these, what do I want to say, babe? Bonka boats. But one thing you do notice on this is kind of more shallower water. And then when you hit this, you got about a 60, 70-foot drop. This big reef wall, and it's very beautiful coral. They do a lot of diving all through in this area. But guys, this German guy cracked me up. I don't know if you can see it too well. Me and my wife laugh, Roseanne. This big monstrous thing right by us. Look how he built that. He should have took that house. We were laughing when they were building it. I was so mad because this thing is 3 stories tall. And my house here is 1 story tall, and so it overlooks me, right? Like, he should have took that though and moved it more towards the front of the property and made more area here in the back, where the water is. He built it literally right on top of that water, man. Built that huge wall. Like, I would have pushed that back and had a lot more room, because then people like to, put loungers out there, hang out, chat right by the water. Why you would build that thing so close to the water like that, I do not understand for the life of me. I would have pushed that thing back. This was another German guy next to me. Unfortunately, he has now passed, and he's sold the property to this big resort over here. This is Dive Point Alcoy Resort. This is a big resort area. So they now have bought this property next to me. It was privately owned by a German, but when he passed, they bought it from the family. So they now own that whole stretch of property. So I'm sandwiched in between this resort and this German. So that's my little house there in Alcoy. I'm jammed up between that German and that the resort. And that resort really wants to get our property, man, as you can imagine, because they've got all that land, and we're sandwiched in between the two. But we're like, no, no, we're not going to do it. No. Why would we, right? Then you can look over here. These are all like you can see there's a nice resort here. People stay and rent these. I don't know, Maris, if you're near me. I forgot what they call these, but people rent these big things. Stay on the water. And you get a lot of retirees in there too from like Europe, Australia. These are more bonka boats out here. Europe and Australia that like stay there year round because it's cheaper cost of living for them. They live there on their retirements. So, anyways, you guys got to see my place right there. So I've been over here to Negros do Magetti. This is about a 45-minute boat ride. That's the one thing cool about Philippines, man. You can travel on these places. This might be the tip right here. Here you go. Here's the port. So you get on the boat right there at that port. You guys remember that picture I was showing you, the Santander port with Kyle? That's us right there. You get on that, you just take the boat right over here, boom. Then you're in a whole nother island. Bohol, it's famous for the chocolate hills. It's another 45-minute boat ride. You can go see the chocolate hills over there. This area right here has become very expensive. It wasn't like that. Panglao. These rooms in here will run you, no joke, guys. In Panglao, you could spend. I wish Maris was out here. I want to say 100 to 500 a night on some of the resorts in Panglao. If you look up Panglao, Philippines, some of the resorts out here are extremely expensive. They're trying to make it like the new Boracay. This airport right here, they just had put in, and that's to fly people in there direct. They're making it like the new Boracay. Look at Pangioa. It's an island, Panglao Island. It's actually separated here. You take this bridge. You can see it here. You take these bridges over from Bohol, and it is very expensive now. They have made that into a tourist area. Um, this would be so. One of the things I do, even though I have my home there, when I go into Philippines, is I try to map out what I want to do. Right when you go on a trip, what do you really want to see? What do you really want to do? What haven't I seen? So one of the places I haven't been that I want to go do is this island over here, Leyte. I want to see where General MacArthur landed during World War II, the history. I want to check that out one day. I haven't been over here to Leyte or Mock. I have not seen this area right here, Tacloban City. That's the city that got totally destroyed in a typhoon. It's still being rebuilt. Um, I wouldn't mind going to Leyte one day just due to the history there. Davao is another place I've been to. I talked about that. Uh, Davao City, and it's safe. Davao City, which is down here, actually is where you fly into, not up there. This is a safe area. Just if you didn't have family or friends with you, though, I just wouldn't go to this island. But if you did have some family friends, this part in here is very safe. Davao City, very clean, very safe. One of the cool things you do is you can go over here. I don't know if that's the right place. I wish Maris was near me. Here's the airport you fly into. They have the thing I wanted to see there was the Philippine Eagle. They have the Philippine Eagle Sanctuary there. Um, yeah, there was some really cool things to see there. The only problem is you only want to stay in that area. That's the only island you got to worry about in the Philippines. So Davao City is okay though. You can go to Davao City, have a great time. Um, I was showing you guys Baraka. I had been there, showing you some pictures. It's over here actually. Right here is Boracay. So Boracay Island's very expensive. That's like the Honolulu of the Philippines. This whole beach line here, they'll call it Station 1 to Station 2. These are all 4 and 5-star resorts all around this island right here. Um, there's actually not an airport on this small island. What happens is you fly in here. I'll show you. This is the airport. You actually fly in this airport right here when you land, and it's kind of a scary experience. This runway is very small. So you'll be on a smaller prop plane. You guys ever flew like Alaska Airlines turboprops? They fly turboprops in here. It's a smaller airport. It's one way, so they go down, they land, and then they spin around. What you do though when you get in here, then you board a boat. As soon as you land here, they've got this all set up. You're gonna go over here. You're gonna get on a boat, and then you're gonna take the boat over to Boracay, which will be right over here. And if you look up Boracay, Philippines, there you go. It's a lot of fun. It's a beautiful island. There's a lot of things to do, man. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of bars, nightlife, swimming. Man, me and my wife, we went on a boat with the parachute on the back of it. Yeah, we had the time of our life. But I'm gonna tell you, it's like going to Hawaii when you go in here. It is U.S. dollar pricing. It is not cheap. However, if you go to the Philippines once and you want an awesome experience, there you go. Um, you could go to Boracay for a week. I wouldn't stay there for a long time because there's a lot of beautiful things to see here. And I'm sure you don't want to go here and start dropping US dollar if you can avoid it. But if you want a great time, there you go. There's Boracay. That's like the Hawaii of the Philippines right there. Um, I'll tell you another cool island. I'm not seeing the chat right now. Another cool place. If you go to Cebu, I'll tell you guys Virgin Island, Batayan Island. Batayan Island. Is this Batayan? No, that's Malipasco. Batayan Island. Here we go. Day Batayan Island. Not right there. It's right here. Batayan Island. This island right here. If you write this down, Batayan Island. This island has not been found by foreigners as of yet. I say yet because slowly people are finding it. I would say this island is probably more beautiful than Boracay. A lot of beautiful white sand beaches, and the cool thing is it has nice beauty because it's untapped, man. Show you an example. This is all white sand in here, right? You guys can see it. All white sand. Untapped. Not a lot of foreigners know about it. One of these days, it'll be developed. Um, but it's a beautiful island. I've been there a couple different times. Just so much to do, especially if you love to go swimming, snorkeling, just hanging out on the beach. There's another little island. I've got pictures I could show you. It's called Virgin Island. Last I heard, I don't know if you can go there. Someone said it got bought um, by a big time Filipino. I don't know if it's open to the public anymore. Virgin Island. You can tell Philippines, they've got so many little islands here. But it's right by Batayan Island. It's not far off. It's not that one. This is a dive point. You can go here. We went there and did some diving. Maybe this is Virgin Island out here. They got a church on that island. Look at that. Seventh Day Adventist. So they might have control. What island's that? Beldalian Island. Never been there. Don't know anything about it. Man, Virgin Islands. Oh, I guess I could type it in and do a search. See if they find it. Virgin Island, Philippines. I would recommend this place. Have to find out if it's open to the public. That took me to Panglao. How did it do that? I don't even know what island that is. Virgin Island, Philippines. Why is it taking me there? Island in the Philippines. That's crazy. That's not even Virgin Island. Let me see where this takes me. There we go. Samoan Island. Samoan. So this is it. Yeah, Virgin Island. I don't know why they call it. We call it Virgin Island. So this is it, guys. Where are we in location? Right there. Okay, bam. There's Batayan Island. Dive Island. Here's Virgin Island. This is a beautiful little island. Man, when I went there, there was only about 5 people on this island, believe it or not, just the caretakers. So you'll take your. These are all bonka boats here. All these bonka boats, people pay just to stay here for the day. They'll swim right out here. This is a beautiful place, man. I would highly recommend you make this. I just don't know if you're able. Well, looking at Google Earth, if this is an updated photo, obviously foreigners are still going here. Other you wouldn't have all those bonka boats hanging out there. So it is still looks like open to the public. Um, it's an awesome place to go to. I've been there. I actually got stung there by a jellyfish. Oh man, but it's nuts. It's a really beautiful island. So Simoleon Island, Virgin Island, they got 2 names on it. It was called Virgin Island when I went there. They got signs Virgin Island. Like I said, this is a dive island right here. A lot of people were scuba diving over here off this island. Let me check the chat. Oh, Silver Life, good to see you guys. Yeah, I'm just talking about the Philippines, chatting away here, man. JC Stacker wants to go with me next year. So guys, just going back here. So there's basically 2 international airports. I honestly have never been to Manila Luzon because I always fly into Cebu. So you're gonna fly in either into Manila or you're gonna fly into Cebu. And Cebu's really easy. I was showing Silver Life. You're gonna fly in here to Mac 10. You're gonna fly in here. It's gonna take about 30 minutes. You're gonna get your 30-day stamp, free of charge. You get to stay 30. You get 30 days free. So you're gonna land in Mac 10 Island. Big resorts on this island. You can cross over this bridge, these bridges into Cebu City, and it's a big city, a lot to do. Big malls, huge malls. This is all being developed out here. This is what they call the SRP, South Road Properties. Here you go, right here. Cebu South Road Properties. This road right here is called the SRP. It's a major artery. You guys can see they got 3 lanes wide each side. This is a major road. It goes all up and down the coastline, and it's usually not that crowded. It's a great way to get around the main city, like side road it. This right here is one of the new mall, SM Seaside. So yeah, they've got an ice skating ring in there as well. If you guys love to ice skate, they got a big ice skating ring in there. They will fire off fireworks on the top of this thing at night, man. Used to be not. No, I think it's every Friday now. Every Friday they'll fire fireworks off. This centerpiece is still under construction. This is going to be condos for foreigners, and so that condo building will be attached to the mall property. A lot of development going on in here. Just a lot of development up in here. This area, the northern part of Cebu, there's a lot of trees up in here. It's more forestry. It's like Oregon, believe it or not. A lot of, not the big trees, but just a lot of trees in this whole area. Tons and tons of trees, forestry. But you got to go up through here in order to get to Batayan Island. You'll actually go to the top of this thing, and then you take a boat. There's actually a pier off over here. Right there. Get on those boats, and then from there you go over to Batayan Island, which is right. Batayan Island. Right back over here. That's Virgin Island. Batayan Island right here. They have you drive to the end and you launch there and you cut back. 30 days free. I'll show you guys how I book flights. I'll give you guys an example. Now, that's another thing, man. When you're already over there, you're not going to be spending a lot of money to fly, man. If you want to fly around to Australia and stuff, you land in the Philippines first, right? And I'll tell you guys this. I want to go to Perth someday, Perth, Australia, to see the Perth Mint. Once you're in the Philippines, man, your airfare is so much cheaper. You get out of the United States, right? No more. It's not going to cost you thousands of dollars to fly places. I mean, when I'm in the Philippines, I could probably go to, for example, a Silver Life to Bangkok for $100. So one of the flights have increased a little bit. One of the places I like to book with is Cheapo Air. Cheapo Air. Now the only issue with Cheapo Air is a lot of times I've never got what they call an open-ended ticket. An open-ended ticket is you want to go to Cebu and you're not sure how long you want to stay. Right? Maybe you want to go 2 weeks. I had a friend go with me. You guys get a kick out of this. His name's John. And he goes, I'm just going to go 2 weeks. Well, we went 2 weeks and he was having the time of his life. And he realized on day 4, 2 weeks isn't going to be enough time, like I told him, because I was staying a month. And he decided to get his visa and he stayed 59 days. He's going to stay 2 months, which ended up being 6 months. But what he had to do is he had to get a flight because he didn't have an open-ended ticket. And what that is if you have a day you fly in and a day you leave. But if it's open-ended, you can change that return time to a later date. You're not locked into that date. So that might be something you guys would want to look into. Me, I just do a regular ticket. But maybe if it's your first time and you're not sure how long you want to stay, you might want to get an open-ended ticket. Visa does not cost you anything. 30 days is free, Silver Life. On landing, they're going to punch your passport. If you want to stay more than 30 days, you get a 59-day visa. Find out exactly what they're charging now. It's about 60 bucks. Good to see you full time, my friend. Let's talk about travel in Philippines. One site though that I like to use for booking my airfare, and my wife just went back to Philippines in August, and I booked it this way. So it's already preloaded. You have Medford, I would say Cebu, which will pull up Mac 10, right? Cebu, Philippines. It's just I'm not going to look at December. December is a very expensive month to fly into Cebu. I would not recommend it. Obviously, it's Christmas time, the holidays, and we're not giving them much notice here. But you can book a flight 6 months in advance. Let's just say March, right? I'm just going to say, let's say we're going to go March 6th to March 27th, which would be 3 weeks. And we'll just see what they charge us. People usually think, oh my God, you're flying to Cebu. It's going to be really, really expensive. Well, I found out when I flew to Orlando, my plane ticket was just as much as flying halfway around the world. So just because you're flying far does not mean it's going to be expensive. So looks like our cheapest flight. Now this would be round trip, right? We got $1,000 here. We can go EVA Airlines, which is probably EVA Air. Their main hub is Taipei in Taipei and Taiwan. They're a Taiwanese airline, right? So when I see EVA Air, the first thing I'm thinking of, okay, I'm probably going to go through Taipei. If I see Philippine Airlines, they're going to take me through Manila. Korean Air is going to be through Seoul. Alaska, United, who knows? They might be going through Hong Kong. Um, I really like EVA Airlines. They give great service. So I'm going to click on EVA Air. I'm going to see. Now I'm looking in here, right? So this is one of the things you look at. Going over there is not bad. 22 hours. So I'm going to have a 3-hour layover in Seattle. I'm going to have about a 2-hour layover in Taipei. Um, which is fine. Taipei, you just land. It's easy to find your connection. That's not an issue. I don't mind having a 3-hour layover. When I get, for example, this is going to direct me out of Seattle because what will happen is on these international flights, guys, when first of all, when you check in at the airport, you are going to want to tell the lady at the ticket counter, I want my luggage checked all the way through, right? You want to make sure they check it all the way through, especially these smaller airports like where I'm at in Medford. They are not used to international travelers. If you're in a big city like LA, Chicago, this probably won't pertain to you. But if you're in a smaller town flying out of a smaller airport, yeah, you definitely want to tell that person at the ticket counter, I want to make sure you check my bags all the way through to the destination. Because I'll tell you, sometimes people don't do that. They get on a flight like this, and now they're getting their bags in Taipei. You want to get your bags in Taipei and then bring them back and recheck them in? Oh, hell no. I don't think so. So you're making sure they check your bags all the way through. And when you get your tickets, when they put the sticker on that bag, when they get the sticker on that bag, Roseanne, you want to make sure you look at that sticker and you got your final destination on it before they put it to the back, right? You want to make sure you want to know your airport code. So CEB is my airport code here. MFR is where I'm leaving. Medford, CEB, Cebu. I want to see CEB on that tag when she puts the tag on my bag going back to the back. If it says it can say Taipei on there, but it's got to have Cebu as that final destination. That's what I'm looking at. So that's another pointer for guys. Good night, Susan. Big hugs. If you've never done international travel before, when they're checking your baggage, you make sure you get a complete check and it goes all the way through to your destination, or it's going to be a bad day on the flight. At least, like with my wife, the last thing she wants to do is go pick up two 50-pound bags and bring them back and recheck them in at an airport she's not even familiar with. Japan is closer to Hawaii than it is to us. 4 hours to Hawaii from Cali. Yeah, Philippines is right near Japan. Not too far from Philippines. I've actually never flown into Japan. My wife has. I never have. I've never been there. Um, So here you guys go. This includes all your taxes and fees. $1,000. This is going to be round trip. So if you think about that one way, what are we looking at? 530 each way. So you go Medford. I would go to Seattle, Seattle, Taipei, Taipei to Cebu. My layovers aren't that bad. I got 3 hours, 1 hours. But what you'll notice on these a lot of these international flights when you get these deals is a lot of times coming back, you do get the long layover. And a lot of people go, "Oh my God, the layover is so long." This layover, honestly, I could not handle. I'd have to get a different flight. I'm not sitting in Seattle for no 15 hours. No way. This one's not bad though, especially if you haven't traveled to Asia before, because with that 9 hours, I can leave the airport. I could go to the Taipei Tower. I could go do some things on my 9 hours, right? I can go explore another little city on my trip. And it's not going to charge me anything extra. I'll just use that layover to go check out another city while I'm traveling. So that 9 hour layover doesn't bother me at all. That's a fun layover. But this 15 hours in Seattle, we can't do it. No way. So we'd have to find another flight. That's not acceptable. You might have to spend an extra, where do we go? 13. What are they going to do? They're going to put me through San Francisco, then the Portland, 5 hours, 2 hours, 42 minutes. That 42-minute layover wouldn't be bad because I'll give you guys an example. One thing people don't think about on these. Let me click this. And I tell my wife this when she's looking at tickets. On the layover, I think it is coming back. This 42 minutes, if that 42 minutes was my flight coming into San Francisco, oh, hell no, I'm going to miss my flight. Because when you go into San Francisco, guys, when you come back from an international flight, what do you got to do? You got to go through customs, and that can take a couple of hours. So this 5 hour layover is not a big deal to me. I might sit in the airport for 3 hours, but I can find something to do. I can chill, relax, get something to eat. But there is no way I want a 42-minute, maybe not even a 2 hour. I don't even think I'd want a 2 hour layover going into San Francisco or LA, because depending on what's landed in front of you, you got some of those big international flights, they land in front of you, even if they've got 15 or 20 agents, it can back up those lines really fast. And sometimes, they're going through people's bags. They want to do extra checks. And so by the time you scan your passport, you go get in line, scan your passport. They check the bags, get your bags. There's a process there. And then you got to leave the international side to get back to the domestic terminals. So I always like to have 2 hours, at least 2 hours for that. So 5 hours is long, but it's definitely doable. And the 2 hours, obviously, no issue. 42 minutes. I already know the airport layout in Portland, and I know when Alaska Airlines flies, I'm going to be in the same pod where I need to be for my next flight, so that's doable. That's okay. They're a little tight, but I can make that work. So that would be 1,300 round trip, which is not bad, really, considering you're going halfway around the world. Then what's interesting on this is once you're in the Philippines, if you've got Silver Life, if you've got some time, like a month, I talked about the fact that once you're over there, you would want to go. So now that I'm in the Philippines, bags cost a lot. No, they actually don't if you go international. If you fly international, you get 2 bags free check, 50 pounds a piece. They've lowered that. It used to be 65 pounds, but it's 50 now, Zilla. So 2 bags can go under the aircraft. When you go on an international flight, you get 2 bags under the aircraft, no additional charge. And I'm glad you brought that up because if you're at a smaller airport, again, these ticket agents aren't used to international travel and they will try to charge you for the bags. And you say, no, I'm on an international flight. Those bags get checked in with the cost of my ticket. And they do. Even economy, like I fly, you get 2 bags free, 50 pounds bag. You also get your carry on bag, no cost to you as well. So you actually get 100 pounds you get to bring with you for no extra cost. And then you get that carry on check as well. Good to see you, Scoop. I'm glad you brought up the bags, though, man, because these are good questions, especially if you guys ever fly internationally for the first time. Yeah. I'll go up there in just a moment. Um, well, with when I fly international, my wife just came back. She just flew a cheapo. Or you just came, babe? Are you still there? You just came back in your flight, didn't you? You got 100 pounds free. How much pounds did you get in your baggage when you went over there, Cebu? 50-50, and then you got your carry-on bag. Yeah. So per ticket, like her and Kyle went. Kyle can take 2 bags. Meredith can take 2 bags. They each got 50 pounds free. So that's 100 pounds per passenger plus your carry-on bag. It could change depending on what airline you're flying with and where you're going, but any of the Asian carriers will let you do 2 bags free. So she just flew Eva Airlines, and it was 2 bags free of charge. She just flew in August, so it's pretty recent. Um, yeah. So check your airlines. I know with Cheapo Air, where we buy our tickets, she just flew Eva Airlines, and it was free. 2 bags free. Um, I want to show you guys something what's interesting. A lot of times, what's really interesting about this, because I really want to go to Australia one day, right? If I got on a flight from Medford to LA going to Australia, it would actually cost me more money than flying to Philippines and then getting on Cebu Air and flying down to Australia. So it's really interesting how you can work this stuff out, man. Um, so there's an airline you can go Philippine Airlines or Cebu Pacific. Those are the two main carriers out of the Philippines. I'm going to share with you guys Cebu Pacific, and I'm just curious what they would charge if we're in Cebu, Philippines, and let's say we want to go visit the Perth Mint in Australia. I want to go to Perth one day. I want to see the Perth Mint, right? So, um, let's see what they say. Yeah, blah blah blah. We don't need all that stuff. We want to go in the book. Oh my goodness, look at this. Pick, click, image, contain a carved pumpkin. You've got to be kidding me, man. All right, you guys, hang tight. I've got to run upstairs just for 2 minutes and lock my door, and I'll be back. I'm going to look at this. I'm going to play some music in the background, only be gone for a couple minutes. I'm curious what it's going to cost us. If you go to Cebu, you want to crash at my place, have a good time, look at some of these beautiful pictures. I'll be back in 2 minutes. And we're going to find out what it would cost from us. Let's say we fly in. I'm going to use an example. Silver Life. We fly into Cebu. We stay there for a couple weeks, and then you, my friend, you got 1 month free in Cebu. You want to go to Australia for a week. We want to go check out the Perth Mint. So we'll do that right when I come back here in 2 minutes. We're going to find out what that would be. All right, you guys. I'm back. Kind of some of the pictures they're showing you there before we check this out. You were looking at Baraka there that I was talking about earlier. Bohol, that's right by Cebu. 45-minute boat ride. That's the Chocolate Hills right there. Beautiful place. And then you got the island of Cebu I was just talking about. That's the island that I'm on. Beautiful white sand, beautiful beaches. At about 10% the cost that Hawaii trip's going to cost you. I am doing good, KK. How are you? We're going to find out how much it's going to cost us to go to the Perth Mint as we leave Cebu to go to Australia. I'm kind of curious on this, actually. JC Stacker wants to go over here next year to Cebu, and I think it'd be cool. One of the places we might be able to check out is going to the Perth Mint in Perth, Australia. They'll actually give you a free tour of the mint. So we will leave Cebu. We are going to go to Australia. How can I do international? Country. Oh, I don't want that. I want to go to Australia. What is it doing to me? I want to go to... That's fine, I'll go to Sydney. We'll just do it. I'm just going to do it backwards then. Sydney to Cebu. I'll just say Sydney to Cebu. What the heck? I'll just do it backwards. I don't care. Let's depart in March like we were doing. Let's just say March. We had the 6th. We land. Let's say the 20th to like the 25th. Is this, well, I guess I'm going to find out. It's been a while since I've been on this site. Say 1 adult, no kids. Yes, we're going to be returning. I'm going to return. I'm going to say, I thought I said March 25th. Depart. Not my depart wrong. Departure is going to be March 20th. Okay. Why did it change that? March. All right. Let's put the 13th in. And then I'll say, just say the 18th. Okay. Fine. Let's just do that for example. So they don't fly into Perth. You've got to go into Sydney or Melbourne. So this is going to be in Australian dollars, no flights. We'll just say Tuesday. So, man, I'd have to do the conversion on this. All in fare with taxes and everything. Each way. So we're going to have, oh no, depart Sydney, Manila, Cebu. Okay, so each way it looks like is 470 Australian dollars. Or is that for the whole shebanger? Let's see that. Sydney, Manila, Cebu. Yeah, so 470, and then with them, you're going to have to add 70 per guest, free hand carry if you want to take one piece of luggage with you, which obviously we probably would want. So let's do that. No flights available, sold out or unavailable. But what's interesting, oh, we've got to change our return flight. No flights. Okay, so we'll say Friday, 429. I'm just curious what the... So it looks like 70 Australian dollars. I'm going to say 500 Australian dollars each way. Converting that to US dollar, 300 US dollars, is that the conversion? So you'd have to double that, so 600 bucks. 600 bucks would get us round trip to Australia from Philippines, man. So not bad. So that's what I'm saying though. Like, how far for departure? I was looking at March, spring break. So they're charging $429 plus about $70 for luggage. I'm going to say you want to bring a bag with you for sure. And a carry-on's free. I know you want to take a bag. So 470 Australian dollars is around 300 US dollars. So about 600 bucks round trip. I don't think that's bad. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, do the math on that. You could go to Cebu book your flight to Cebu. Let's just say for 28 days. Let's say 4 weeks. You land in there, Silver Life. You get your free visa stamp. But you're gonna get restamped anyway, because when you go to Australia and come back, they're gonna restamp you. But then once you're there, then you can say, okay, I checked this out for a couple weeks. I want to go down to Australia. $600 there and back for the flight. Of course, it's going to cost you more than that because you're going to have to get a hotel and stuff. It's going to be a little more expensive there, but November 30th and paid $600. We'll also check that's in Australian dollars on there too. But what's curious about this is, I bet you anything, guys, we were going to Sydney. I bet if we took like United Airlines, Delta, and you went from the United States, I bet if you flew straight into there, that flight's going to be a lot more. You know what I mean? Like if you went straight from the United States to Australia. I would not fly in December. December, they're going to it's going to be bad. Yes, you can tour the Perth Mint. Let's talk about that actually before I check that out. You can actually, that's what I want to do, man. I want to go to, Meredith actually has a friend down there in Perth. Perth Mint tour. I'll show you guys. I've been looking at doing this. The website. Let me share this out. So let me share this out. They have got, let me find it. You guys, they do tours at the Perth Mint. I'm just trying to find, because I've looked at before, where that they show it on here for us. Might be down towards the bottom. That's the gold pour. Attractions. Visit the Perth Mint. Here we go. Here we go. See what's on at the Mint. Watch a live gold pour book now. Visit the Perth Mint. Plan a tour. So you go to Cebu first, get that cheaper flight, and then you're going to come over here. Bullion trading. So they actually have a tour, Silver Life, because I was reading about this before, where you can actually go through the whole thing. Here it is right here. Tours are running for about an hour. So you can get the 2-hour, 30-minute tour of the Bell Tower and the Perth Mint for a discounted price. Let's see what they charge. Not bad, $22. $22, and I bet that's Australian dollar too. $22 for the 2.5-hour tour. That's a 60-minute tour. No, I think you get both though. What else do you get in that? They set up above. There's a 2.5-hour tour. Well, that's not bad though, man. $13. Look at that. $13. So that's what I mean, Silver Life. You fly into Cebu, $600. You could fly down there, check out the Perth Mint, check all that out. You'd have a hell of a vacation. Probably for under $5,000. Time of your life. I'd go to Cebu. I'd hit the Chocolate Hills, go to Bohol. Maybe hit Batayan Island right there. Be cheap. Have a couple weeks. Fly down here for $600. Check out the Perth Mint. Look at some cool gold and silver. So that's a place I want to go to right there. Heck yeah, man. That's that's definitely a place that I want to go to. I'll tell you guys another place. Do the Perth Mint, Cebu, Bohol. Let me show you guys. If you like cool places to see, I'm trying to look at this picture. I'm going to drop the link in there again, guys, if one of you want to pop up before I go to bed. That's the link. What is that? Zillow prices go up. Those long flights aren't too bad. I try and sleep on them. Show you guys some more pictures if I've got them loaded here. See what else I've got loaded. I should have loaded up a bunch of photos, man. Pretty much showed most of the Philippines photos I've got loaded. But anyways, guys, yeah, just want to talk about traveling, showing you photos. No problem. Just doing a hangout. So yeah, when I fly over there, it takes me a good day to get over there. Oh, I'll tell you guys another thing I didn't think about because I'm about to go to sleep myself. When you fly over there, the first thing you won't want to do is you don't want to start exchanging your money at the airport. A lot of times, tourists they'll get off the flight, or even before that, even before they get on the flight. I know at Tom Bradley, a lot of the big international airports. Good night, Silver Life. Have a good night, my friend. They will want to trade your dollars for whatever country you're going to, either at the airport or right when you land at the airport. I know when I went to Cancun, it was right there when I landed. No, no, no. What you want to do is you want to wait. Like if you go to Cebu, you just get like 50 or $100, just so you have enough to get you in and out of the airport and do what you need to do at a taxi. Go to a mall. And typically the malls aren't going to be the best exchange rate, but they're going to be a lot better. Yeah, always pay to bring your own pesos. It's going to be a lot better, at least in the Philippines, if you do it in the mall. They'll give you a much better exchange rate. Example, the airport in Cebu may say like 40, 38. You go to the mall, you get like 55, 60. So definitely do not exchange your money. That's another thing we didn't talk about tonight. Do not exchange a lot of money at the airport or in the process of going to your destination. Right? You hit the airport, they've got them at the international side. When you land, they're trying to get no, 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 no. Just you need a little bit though. You need some to when you land, just to get you by for the first few hours. Check in, get through a taxi, whatever you got to do. Yeah, the bank will basically give you spot. So don't fall in that trap. That's another trap, guys. Do not fall into the trap. Exactly. Do not withdraw lots of money. What I like to do while we're on the currency subject, um, when you go to Cebu, one thing they require over there, and I would do this anyway, no matter where I was going, is have crisp new bills. Because I know sometimes when I've gone to exchange it, they're looking at the bill. They don't like old bills, no tears, nothing like that. Crisp, nice new bills. The banks don't like it, but you go in the bank and you're like, look, I need 3,000 or 5,000 in new bills. Oh no, I don't have it. What do you got? Go through it. They'll go through it there. Find me the best bills. Explain to them that you're traveling, you're going somewhere. Then usually, 99% of the time they're going to help you out. Um, yeah, you're going to want nice, new, crisp bills, wadded up bills, normal bills you use every day here. You're going to get over there. They're not going to take it. I've even had it before where I've gone to some of the exchanges and they look at the serial number on the bill that for whatever reason, they don't want that serial number. Beats the heck out of me. So I need a lot of bills and I need a lot of crisp bills. 50s and hundreds will give you the best exchange rate. It usually doesn't matter if it's a 50 or 100. 20s, 10s, fives, they'll take it, but you're gonna get a lower exchange rate. So you want the higher denomination, hundreds and fifties, to get you the best exchange. Um, this is kind of a common sense thing, but obviously, for example, you're in the Philippines, the biggest note's 1,000 pesos, right? You do not want a lot of 1,000 peso notes because guess what? Most people aren't going to have change for 1,000 if you're buying stuff, especially from small little shops. They don't want those big notes. You're getting something for 40 pesos, 20 pesos. You hand the guy 1,000. Come on, man. He doesn't have that kind of change, right? So 20s, 50s, all the small bills, a lot of 20s, a lot of 50s, a lot of hundreds, the smaller peso notes. That's it. So you want to have a lot of denomination notes. Um, and that's one thing too, Jags. Once you exchange into that national currency, so if it's the Philippine peso, for instance, they don't care if I crimple up the bill or not. So what I've done before on previous trips is I've actually had a money belt where I've rolled up, I've put some bills into my belt. Nothing's ever happened to me, but God forbid, because I try just to carry a little bit on me just in case, right? If something happened, God forbid, and I got pickpocketed and I got money taken out of my main pocket, I just take the belt out, get a bill out of there to get me back to wherever I need to go to. So just little things like that to keep in mind. Not saying anything's going to happen, nothing's happened to me, but you're in a foreign country, you're in a place you're not sure of, so just have a backup plan. Anything you do, that's the best advice. Exactly. If you're paying a few pesos, don't pay 1,000 pesos. And the biggest problem with that, if you're in Cebu City, like a big city, it's probably not so much, but especially the outlying areas, these guys don't have that change. And really, it's honestly, it's just rude, right? Like, I mean, it'd be like if you went to McDonald's and you bought a $2 hamburger, you hand the guy $100 bill, you might wipe out the till there. Over there, they ain't gonna have it close to the change. So definitely need all the denominations. Um, the 1,000 pesos though can be handy, if you're going to more expensive stuff, more expensive places to eat. Um, exactly. Yeah. Always hide a little somewhere, just because you never know. Just have a backup plan. Like I said, when I was over there, I have a belt and it's got a little zipper down it, and I just put a few pesos in that belt. Put the belt on. You know, um, I don't carry a wallet. I just carry basic money. Usually, what I do too, um, what I like to do is zipper pockets, zippers. Not easy for people to put their hands in. Or if I do have something in a front pocket, unzip. It's always in my front pocket. Usually, I have my hand in there. If I'm walking around a lot of people, just being smart. Don't put anything in your back pocket that you don't. If you put something in your back pocket and you're in a big city like Cebu City where there's people bumping into you and stuff, and you don't care. If it's a tissue or something you don't care about, it's one thing. We don't want money back there. Oh, that's smart. Put a rubber band around your wallet. Never thought about that. There's another tip from Scoop. Put a rubber band around your wallet. Yeah, what's cool about that is obviously if you got a rubber band around it too, it's harder to get it in and out of the pocket. So that's another good tip. The biggest thing too, when you guys travel overseas, you're what just think about this. When are you at how can I word this? When you are at the most vulnerable state on your trip? Probably when you land at that airport. Because right when you land at that airport and get out, you've got your passport, all your money, and all your stuff with you. So that's when you're the most vulnerable. You got to be on your most guard. That's the scariest time for me anyway. When I get to the airport, I'm like, okay, where's the family car at? Let's go straight to the car, get me right to where I'm staying, because I'm gonna unload my stuff and get this stuff off of me, and because that's when you're the most vulnerable, when you got all your cash on you, all your stuff with you. Especially if you're landing somewhere and you don't have family and friends there, you don't know the taxi, who you're getting in the taxi with. That's when you got to be on your most guard. Get that passport with your wallet, rubber band it, get it in your front pocket. Don't let it out of your sight. Yeah, these some of these guys are really good in the Philippines. I actually had a foreigner tell me one of the things we have. I'll show you guys a picture. Here, as at least in the Philippines, especially your first time, you're always 99% of the time you're going to be in a taxi. But if you want to start exploring and going out, you're going to ride the trikes, the jitneys. Um, let's just find a jitney online so you guys know what I'm talking about when I say jitney. What the hell is a jitney? There you go. Here's a jitney, for instance. So these are like, basically there's no air conditioning in here. So you can imagine during the day it's very hot and we're going to be body to body. But you are going to ride this at least one time while you're there for the experience to say you did it. Because once you get over there, these things are all decorated. They're all different. Some people have big speakers blasting music at night. They got really cool lights on them, lights all over. So they are kind of fun to experience and ride. But there are pickpocketers on these things, man. And one of my friends told me some guy how he figured out he took his hand. These guys are professionals that do this. Took his hand, wrapped it around his back, so flexible, and somehow from doing that, reached into his pocket. He was sitting down there, pickpocketed him. He didn't know what the heck was going on. I mean, if someone puts their hand in my pocket, God knows I should know about it, right? These guys are so good. He said he didn't know what was going on. He has his hand. He slipped his hand behind his back into that other pocket. Crazy stuff, man. That happened on a jitney. But they have jitneys over there, so you'll see a lot of these people that go to work every day, like they're going to work right now. Their time zone's different. These they ride these jitneys, which is like a big van, mini bus. They got the trikes, motorcycle with sidecar, and they got regular big buses too. You see a lot of big buses now. Um, yeah, these guys are pros, so you have to imagine this is their job, right? That's how they make their living. So you just got to be on your toes. It's never happened to me. Um, I saw one guy get his backpack ripped off him once, and then I've had that story from a friend over there that told me about it. He was on a jitney and he figured out what happened. The guy swung his hand around his back, went in that pocket. Happens that quick. He couldn't believe it. These guys are good. Some of these guys are really good, just like Zilla Zilla says. Yeah, always have what you need in the carry to make you about 2 to 3 days. And what's interesting? For example, in the Philippines, they are getting more and more modernized. And when I first went over there back in about '06 with my wife, man, and when I go outside Cebu City, I would need to bring a lot of things with me. I brought a lot of stuff with me in my suitcases that I didn't need. Like you can buy most of your stuff over there when you get there, and it's going to be cheaper. Um, but one of the things I didn't think about: sanitation, hand wipes, maybe some moisture wipes. Very handy to have. not just to clean your hands, but to wipe your face when you get hot and sweaty. I would have moisture wipes with me because it's very hot over there. You're going to be adjusting. And I mean, you can buy everything over there. When I freaked out, I brought toilet paper with me. I heard the stories, but that I told you guys about my first trip. I didn't have my bag with me. It's all in the car. I go into the stall. There's no toilet paper. When you go in the stall, you're like, oh my God, I think I've said that story. I went to the coffee shop. I said, I like a roll, and she tears off one strand. Oh my God, give me the whole roll. So it's not like over here you go into a bathroom, you expect to have the stall all loaded up and everything. That may or may not be the case. So that's where those wipes come in handy in your pocket. You might need it to handle that business as well. Yep. Yeah, if you're out in the rural areas, yeah, the rural areas. Yeah. So my wife here. I had a funny story. I was just explaining that. I get off the plane. I go to the mall, and in general, you think the malls are gonna have toilet paper. The malls generally, 99% of the time, they're well stocked. They got what you need. I went to the mall. It was called E Mall. We got right off of Macton Island. I got to use the bathroom. I just got off that flight. I think I flew. Man, I don't know. I went to the bathroom, I think, when I was in Seoul or wherever I was, but I got to Cebu. It took me a while to get through customs, and I had to go. And then it took me like another hour from Mac 10 to Cebu. It probably been like 5 or 6 hours. And I go and use the stall Zilla, and I look over, and there's no TP, none. So yeah, that's you gotta be ready for that. Oh wow, what in L.A., California? That's what they do, and they charge you $2 for two little pieces. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, so and this is the thing, at least with Philippines guys, and this wow, while I'm thinking about this, this takes me to a whole nother subject. Pharmacy. Um, so I get an upset stomach, and you will get an upset stomach when you're in a third world country. You will. It's just a matter of when. I can't imagine anybody going over there not getting some food sickness. You'll drink water accidentally, you'll eat something wrong. So a big one in the central Philippines, it's called Rose Pharmacy. One thing different about the pharmacies there, when you go in there, is they're able to prescribe you medications. Not like here where you go see a doctor and the doctor has to write you a prescription, and then you got to go to the pharmacy. They cut out the red tape. You can go see the pharmacist, and a lot of times you tell the pharmacist your symptoms and your problems, they'll diagnose you. I didn't have to get that far. All I told the pharmacist is, do you have any Pepto Bismol? They did not know what Pepto Bismol was. They're looking at me like, what the hell is Pepto Bismol? And I got people behind me. I didn't really want to tell the people behind me I got an upset stomach, I got the trots, and I need Pepto Bismol. I didn't know what else to say. And it's like, look, I I got to go. I got to flush. I got to go. And they said, oh, you need Imodium. I didn't know what Imodium was back then. I'm like, what the hell is Imodium? I always use like a Pepto Bismol. So what is Imodium? Sir, you just need Imodium. Take the Imodium. It'll help you. Then the funny part, she goes, how many Imodium would you like? I would just figure it come in a box of 30. No, they sell it by each individual pill. How many Imodiums would you like? So then I had to tell her I took like 20 or 30 from my trip, 20 or 30 for my vacation. I'm like, well, I'll just get them now. So they actually sell it by the pill, man. I mean, you probably could buy a box of them, but yeah, it's not like here. It is very interesting. All this stuff just makes me laugh because it's all different than what I'm used to. So when you go to the pharmacy, think about that. A lot of times they're going to say, how many do you want? And sell it to you by the pill. Um, Man, when I was thinking about medications and that, I was going to say something else, Silazilla. I'm trying to think what I was going to say on that when I was talking about the pills, the quantities. Um, Maybe you guys have. Oh, I did. And that's the thing, right? Like, this is gonna sound really funny, Scoop, but you know, one of the things, guys, the last thing you want to do when you're on a vacation and you don't exactly know where toilets are and you got an upset stomach, not exactly a pleasant experience, right? That can ruin a trip real quick. So my what I did, Scoop, is I'm loading up, and even if I take too many, oh well. Better to have too many than not enough. Exactly. You can get stuff without having a doctor's appointment. So that was different, you know. So that's I know my son got sick. My wife took him to the doctor. They wrote a prescription to get him some stuff. So I don't know if it's like that on all medications over there, but I know just basic medications, the pharmacist can definitely prescribe it and give it to you. Um, oh, let's talk about cost, man. You know, nowadays, guys, with I'm looking at doing this on my house. What do I want to say? You can just rent it out. You don't have to go to a condo or hotel. Oh man, help me out here. My wife's looking at doing it. Airbnb, right? You can actually go in and rent a condo and stay like at an Airbnb, save yourself some money. I was actually looking at some, and for basically $300 a month, you could get a condo fully furnished, gives you your air conditioning. Um, you get access to a swimming pool. Um, the only thing you'd have to do is provide your own internet. No, they don't. They didn't ask what other meds I was on or anything. Now, I don't take any medication. I just take a low dose aspirin, 81 milligram. But yeah, if you're someone out there with heart problems and stuff, obviously that's something you would want to tell the pharmacist over there. Hey, I'm taking these medications. I mean, they're smart over there. You tell them, I'm taking these meds. I have a heart med. Maybe you're type 2 diabetic. I'm on metformin. Let them know all that information so they know they know what they're yeah. Sure, you tell them your health history. Good to see you, Mama Cynthia. Just talking about traveling, Philippines, having a good time tonight, just hanging out. Yeah, and so basically, what you do is you just be smart about it when you go in there. Tell the pharmacist your health history. But I mean, if it's an Imodium or something, that should be fine. But yeah, definitely tell them your health history. Yeah, so my wife's friends, they do an Airbnb. They have the tree houses here. And I'm thinking about trying to do that for my house in Cebu. Just because it's sitting there empty with the caretaker, why not try to make a little bit of revenue while it's just sitting over there? It's another good point too. That's a good way how you can pay for your trip. To give you guys an idea, Kyle just went through this. My son, um, I spent a lot of money on his braces here, but he had a dental checkup. They said, hey, he has a couple fillings, and they were getting ready to go to Cebu. And my wife's dentist is over there. And what's really interesting about this is when Dr. Wu's our dentist here, when she saw Dr. Wu, he goes, my goodness, who worked on your teeth? They did a great job. She goes, oh, my dentist in Cebu did it. Didn't say another word, right? Didn't say anything about it. So a lot of times in some of these countries, you can actually get U.S. trained dentist. Maybe it's a dentist that's a Filipino. There's a lot of nurses. Example, a lot of you probably know Philippine nurses or from different countries that come here and work. Right. At some point, a lot of times they end up going back home because they miss home, and so they start working back at home. And that's the case with their dentist. He's U.S. trained dentist, worked on all her family, fraction of the cost. You go over there, he got all his dental work done. It was a fraction of the cost. It literally probably saved me, even with insurance. I'm sure I saved easily $300. So there you're talking about paying for some of that plane ticket. Um, my what do you call it? Dermatologist told me that. I wanted to get a mole freezed, and I told him I was going to Philippines, and he's like, "Well, it's not cancerous. I already checked it out. Just have it freeze over there. It's cheaper." Like, all right. So Yeah, so you can get some of your basic medical care done. I say basic medical care because obviously I wouldn't want to have anything major done overseas. But if it's just basic fillings, um, basic dental, basic, you could actually pay for your trip doing that. And a lot of times, just look up the person, check out their credentials, um, make sure that they're, especially if you've had anyone before that has seen them. My case, family. Hey, what's your experience like with this guy? What's your history? Um, you definitely do your dental work over there for a lot cheaper. I know a lot of friends here that my wife knows, for example, when they get old, a lot of our friends are older than us. A lot of them needed dentures or a lot of teeth pulled, and they would get it done over there. It's a lot cheaper. That's a good question, though. Pays for your plane ticket, right? Pays for your vacation. Although I told my wife this, I don't know if Kyle had that done. I don't know if I want major dental work while I'm on vacation. Man, that kind of ruins the vacation because you're in the healing process the whole time. So I don't know. I'm trying to think, man, before I sign off. Definitely, though, have some pocket money with you when you get to the airport. You are going to have to exchange out 50 or $100 just to have on you because you're going to need to get that taxi and do some basic things so you can get to a place where you can exchange. My advice to you guys is when you're booking these hotels, if you book a hotel, I know this because my niece is over there in Cebu. Like they'll show me prices here where I'm booking online. Um, Man, all these places my wife goes to, she could probably name them all. And then we call the family. Oh, we can book it cheaper. They got a promo. So it's like they know in a way, like, okay, we got foreigners checking out our properties. We're going to charge this amount. Where the people that are local that are here when they come in and ask us, obviously we know we can't charge that. We're going to give them this amount. So that's real interesting. You might, from my experience, you might be better off if you go somewhere, just get a place for a couple of nights and then see what you can find for properties and how much things cost once you're already there. You might find you're going to save a lot of money doing that as well than pre-booking everything and pre-paying for all your stuff because they obviously know if you're shopping around, you're a foreigner, and they're going to charge you a higher rate. Yes, it is very true. That is very, very true. That's another good point. So here's the deal with that. At least I mean, I'll speak for Philippines because I'm not sure about all these other countries. In the Philippines, they have public and private hospitals. God knows I would not want any one of you to go to a public hospital. Not good. Not good at all. Even if you got seen. Okay. So could you go to a public hospital? Yeah. Would I want you to go there? Absolutely not. So yeah, when you go to a private hospital in the Philippines, you have to pay before you go in there. I mean, if you're really sick and you go in there, they're probably what a lot of times what'll happen is they're going to want to see some pesos or a credit card on file if you got a credit card with you. And honestly, man, I've actually had to do this. I put a credit card on file even though I was scared to death. Everything went just fine. Okay. One thing I do before I leave on a trip, even though my bank now, Chase Bank, my main bank says you don't have to do it, believe it or not. And when I called them, and Meredith is going to Philippines, good night, Scoop. Have a good night. My bank now said you do not need to notify us when you go on travel. Well, I'm still going to notify you because that's just me. I'm going to tell you where I'm at, my dates, so they can put in their system. Okay, and if there's any unusual charges, right? Any unusual charges, I just tell them this. Um, so that's where a credit card can come in handy, though, because you can put the credit card on file. Um, but a lot of times they do make you pay up front. Not all the time though, because there was a couple of times where Kyle needed to see a doctor when we were over there. I actually paid. He went into a hospital. It's a little bit different here. They do have the emergency departments, but he went in. They had him see a pediatric doctor, and that pediatric doctor had an office in the hospital. But I paid the bill after he already saw the doctor and was diagnosed. So I don't know if it's every time, but yeah, I think if you go into the emergency department sick, they do demand payment for entry. Yeah. If you're super messed up and you go to the ER, they're going to want to see some money. Yeah, it's a good. That is SS. That is a great question because a lot of foreigners, when they go overseas, they don't think about that, right? That could be a big expense on your trip that you're not planning. So, one of the things to do before you go on an international trip is probably get a physical from your primary doctor, have them do labs, check you out, make sure everything's good before you go. Um, because I can tell you from one of my experiences when I was over there, I got sick one trip, and luckily I was able to make it back to the States. A couple days later, I got sick, went in the hospital for like a week on an IV. Um, we have better medications than they have over there, but can you imagine what that bill would have been over there? Even though it's Philippines, right? It could still easily have been $1,000 that you don't have budget for that vacation. So that is a very good question. That's a situation, uh, not a planned expense, but could happen, right? So credit card, I wouldn't be scared to put a credit card on file. Like I said, I've done it in the Philippines. One thing nice about the credit card, if there's any fraudulent transactions, you can fight that with with your bank, with the institution. Um, Sometimes, though, if you were to pay cash, you get a discount. But a lot of times, you're probably just bringing enough cash for your vacation. You might not have a lot of cash left over, so that might be an instance where you need to use a credit card. Yeah, it can happen. I mean, I didn't think. I'll tell you the truth, guys. So let's see. This is 2006. I'm 44 right now. 16, 26. God, I'm thinking this 14 years ago. Okay, because I'm 44, so I'm about 28 to 30 when I do my first trip to the Philippines. I don't care. When you're 28 years old, 30 years old, you think you're invincible. You never get sick. Never get sick. You really think you're invincible. But that's the thing. When you start doing these traveling to these foreign countries, you are responsible if you get sick. God forbid, you're out swimming and you get into some fire coral, as an example, or you step on something you probably shouldn't have stepped on and get a stinger up your foot. All these things could happen, right? You need some medical attention. Um, just, yeah, think about that, though. You might have to pay for a hospital bill. Not saying it's going to happen, but it could. But you're not in the United States. It's not U.S. dollar, so it's uh, it's going to be a lot. I mean, it shouldn't hit you over the head unless it was something really major like a heart attack. And like I was saying, if it's something minor, a lot of times too, you can just go to the pharmacist over there, and they will actually prescribe you a medication that won't cost you anything for their advice other than getting the medication you need. Like if you get a stomach ache, a bee sting, unless you're allergic to bees, and then you need to go to the hospital. But if you just, something like that, a sting, a bite, um, upset stomach, those basic things you could get at the pharmacy over there. You don't even need to see a doctor. Certified people. I'm trying to think what I haven't covered, man. We talked about, obviously, this goes back to something else. All you guys should have a passport. Everybody should have a passport, man, in case something happened in this country or you need to get out. Or everybody should have a passport, man. You aren't going anywhere without a passport nowadays. Even Canada, Mexico, you either have to have the passport or the passport card or the special driver's license now. I'd get a passport, the passport card. Just have it. And then stuff will come up. You may want to go on a beautiful vacation, explore new countries. That's just something I think everyone should have as their passport, which blows my mind when I talk to my friends out here and family members. Dude, probably 95% of people don't have a passport. God forbid, what if something happens and you got to bail out? Yeah. I never got sick when I was in Mexico. So, oh man, here's an old picture of me. Look at that. Look at that young guy. I need to go. I need to load up more photos. Yeah, exactly. So, anyways, guys, just want to talk to you about traveling. I love traveling, man. I can't wait to do it. My son's a junior in high school, and he will graduate next year, and then I'm free. He's off to college, and I'm free. So, so talking about Philippines, this is what I talked to my mom about. And so maybe someone out there, we got eight in the chat, maybe someone's listening to the same situation. My mom's about 70, 72, and fortunately my dad's already passed away, so she probably couldn't make this work. But one of the things is, um, right, retirement. Retire on your social security. A lot of people retire on their social security, that's it. They don't have a pension, or other forms of an asset. So this is what I was telling my wife. If you take just an average American, let's just say 1,500 a month social security. I'll just throw a number out there. How are you going to live here on 1,500 a month on a social security income? What's your quality of life going to be? Right? I mean, you'll get by, but you're not going to have really anything for extra. And that's what you see a lot of times when I'm over in the Philippines. I'm seeing a lot of foreigners who are retired who tell me this. Look, I might be from Australia, it might be from Europe. Europe's very expensive. Might be from the States or Canada, all these different countries they're from. And they tell you, look, I could be in my home country retired, but what kind of quality of life am I going to have? Here, my rent's about 3 or 400. Everything's covered. I got like an extra $1,000 to play with. It's easy for me to get around. It's cheap. I can go out. I can have fun. They're experiencing life. They're seeing new cultures, having a good time. Whereas, example, if they were here where I live, they get an apartment, probably, I mean, and barely making ends meet getting by. So, could those folks get sick overseas and have an issue? Absolutely, yes. But they also look at that as what's the difference? I'm going to roll the dice, basically. I'm going to hope that I don't get sick. I'm going to have to leave the Philippines once a year anyway. I'll take that time. Maybe they have a primary doctor back home in the States. They'll see that doctor at that time, just get a full physical, make sure everything is good, and then they'll go back on their trip. Exactly. And so when I'm in Philippines, and honestly, guys, a lot of the folks over there are seniors, they're older, retired. And I'm not saying Americans, Canadians, Europeans, Australians. How are you going to live over here on your social security income, man? It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to fly. I mean, over there you can get a private nurse for probably $50 a month, right? Um, you need 2,500 a month, Zillow says in Mexico, and you'd be good. I'm going to say 1,500 Zillow because I don't think most people have 2,500 a month when they retire. Now, maybe I could be wrong and off base. I think my mom's probably one of the few. I would think most people, middle class America, or a little lower, they probably aren't even living on 2,500 a month at that point in their life. I'm going to say probably less than that. So, there again, what kind of quality of life are you going to have? Are you going to stay here and live on 1,500 a month? I'm just using that as an example because how do you want to live your retirement? And my mom tells me, well, son, people got to think about their health. Well, if you're not living life, if you're sitting in your home looking at your four walls every day, what kind of life is that anyway? I'd rather go experience life and, have fun as I go out. So, and I use that as an example because you see it happen. And nowadays, before like in '06, I would talk to some retirees and they were talking about the different ways they'd funnel Social Security into their accounts because I guess back then there was a lot of restriction. But nowadays, with the way money flows, the way money works, it's very easy. They got Citibank and stuff over in the Philippines, so you can just have it direct deposited in your account. Boom, booty bang, no problem. Um, but you gotta, I mean, I'm 44. I just looking at my own situation. It's like, okay, like, you know, we don't know how long we're gonna live. But you got to be thinking about the future, how you want to live your life in retirement, and how far those dollars going to get you, and what are you going to do with those dollars, right? So, and that's the thing, like in the Philippines, you have to think about the fact, do you really need a car? Probably not. You could use mass transit, taxis. You may want to get a scooter or a small little motorbike, right? You're not going to have car insurance. You're not going to have a car payment. You're going to have a cell phone. You're going to have internet. You are going to have those. You're going to want those. You're going to have obviously rent. You can rent your nice condo in the city or on a beach. If you want to get outside the city, that's the other thing, guys. It depends on you, right? If you want to live the city life, the nightlife, and all the fun, you can have that. You can spend 300 to 400 and stay in the city, or you can go where I'm at, 5 hours away, down on the beach, and you can spend maybe 200 a month on your rent instead of 300 or 400. Yeah, that goes to a whole nother subject. What do you want in retirement when you go to retire somewhere? What are you looking for? Um, I would say I just use my mom as an example. Sorry, mom, but she loves buying the beach, but she would love to be near medical, all the good medicals in the city. So she's probably going to want to be in the city. She likes the mall. She likes her Starbucks coffees. She likes those extra amenities. She'd probably want to spend the extra money for that. So she'd want to be in the city. Me, I could care less about that. I go down. I'd rather be on the ocean swimming every day. So it just depends on you. But yeah, I mean, this is what I tell my mom. 1,500 bucks a month, you're living like a king. 1,500 bucks a year, you're struggling. You're probably not even getting by. You're getting by, but it's bare bones. How do you want to live your life? Is what it comes down to. So the one thing about Mexico now, Zilla, I haven't been around Mexico. Okay, the only part of Mexico I've been in, I'll be honest with you, is the expensive part of Mexico, down in the Yucatan near Cancun, that area, which is very touristy, very expensive. Um, I don't know enough about Mexico. I'm sure there's a lot of places in Mexico you could stay that's a lot cheaper. Um, but Philippines, I mean, I'm just thinking, one thing that's benefited me in my life is, if, like I said, going back to the fact, if I never met my wife, I never would have left the United States. I never would have left the United States. I wouldn't know any different. I'd be freaked out to do it. I probably I never would have went to Asia. I never would have went to the Philippines. I might have went to Mexico. That would have been it. So meeting her broadened my horizons, broadened my thoughts, and broadened my ideas. And you know, if I would think, if a lot of Americans experience what I experienced over there, a lot of them would also be opening their eyes and their experiences. Like, do I really want this life when I retire? Right? And everyone's going to be different because everyone's on different footings. What do you want out of life? What do you want to do in life? If you love to hunt and fish, like Israel Sapp, good example. Guy loves to hunt and fish. Man, there ain't really any hunting in the Philippines. He's probably going to love to stay here and do his hunting and fishing. But if you're telling me, Oregon Stacker, I got 1,500 a month, 1,500 bucks a month to live on, right? All right, man. But I'm going to tell you this: how are you going to live here on $1,500 a month? But don't freak out because I got a plan for you, and you can live a beautiful life and a happy life. But you may have to move somewhere to live that life. It may not be here. Yeah, hunting senoritas. So, I mean, imagine this, Z Rich, in and so white sand beach, beautiful water, warm water, $300 a month rent, fully furnished. Uh, some places they include AC. I'm going to say AC is going to be $100 a month. It's expensive over there. Just a single room, 2 room AC. It's going to be about $100 a month. There's no way around it. Air conditioning there is very expensive, so I'm going to say $100 on that. That's where you're going to spend a lot of money. If you're down near the water, you do get the breeze, so that helps. It's not as hot. But I'll just throw $100 out there, just worst case. So 100. I'm gonna say $400. I'm gonna say 400 in a food budget, which is a lot. But hey, you're a foreigner. You like to splurge on the weekends. You like to have your amenities. We're gonna go 400 a month on food. So I'm at $800 a month. I'm gonna say, man, cell phone, internet. That's gonna be another $100 a month. So I'm at where I'm at 4, 8, 900. That has 600 left in the budget. Your place will be furnished. So there's a lot of those, a lot of beautiful ladies over there, man, no doubt about it. But the other thing too, you find, and I noticed this for myself, guys. Like when I'm over here, I'm not as physically active. Bottom line, when I'm over there, guess what I'm doing? Because I don't have my car over there. I mean, we do have a car, but I'm not using it really. I'm walking a lot. I'm walking up and down the beach. I even like to walk to talk to people. I like walking around, just checking out the scenery. I find myself being a lot more physically active. So you also get the better health that way. You're gonna be walking around. You're gonna be sweating more. You're gonna be losing weight. You just are. You're gonna be a lot more physically active. So you're gonna be more physically active, probably in better health. To be honest with you, um, as long as you're the only thing you have to be concerned about is too much sun, lots of sunscreen. But that's a whole other topic. You're gonna want to protect yourself, but definitely more physically active. You're going to have a much better life, a much happier life, working in your budget, not stressed out every month, not going dollar to dollar every month when you're retired on your Social Security. Seafood is really good there. It's hard for me to get used to. My wife and son, I'll tell you what, they are not picky eaters. They'll eat anything. Me, I'm a picky eater. I am a picky eater. So when you get shrimp over there, the head is on it. They don't clean it like they do here. You got to clean it yourself. So that stuff I have to get used to. It always bothers me. But the seafood is amazing. If you love seafood, you'll be in heaven. I'm not a big fish person, but I do love shrimp. They have a lot of shrimp there. I do eat, let's see, on the seafood side, mainly shrimp for me. I'm trying to think if they have any crabs over there when I go to the market. Mainly just shrimp for me. I'm not a big seafood person. Oh, I do like yes, calamari. I eat a lot of calamaris, shrimp. So yeah, just some things to think about, guys. Yeah, I'm not a big fish person. I like to eat meats, which is not exactly the most healthiest thing either when we get older. But um, I'm more of a meat and potatoes guy. I'm not big into fish, but I mean, now that's another question. If I'm living over there and I'm around it all the time and people are cooking it all the time, I'll probably eat some fish now and then, but it wouldn't be the first thing that popped in my mind for sure. And that's the one beauty of this too that I didn't realize. It's like, you know, at least with me, I'll scroll back. What I find with myself, and everyone's different. Like I told my wife this: if I'm retired, living on a budget, one other reason I love my home in Alcoy is it is far from the city. Because I personally find myself when I'm living in the city, guess what I'm doing? I'm spending more money. There's stuff going on every day, all over the city. You will spend more money when you live in the city. I mean, it's so easy to do. When you're down on the beach, out of the main city, you're looking at the water, the beautiful ocean, and you can just lounge there in your chair, look at the scenery, and you're not thinking about the movies going on or the hustle and bustling or going to a pizza parlor, going to do this or that. Trust me, you end up spending less money when you're out of the big city. So that's another reason when I was processing retirement, I was thinking, okay, I want to be by the water because it's cooler, it's not going to be as hot. And when I'm living there, retiring there, I don't need the city life. If I want the city life, I can go have someone drive me down there in my car. I'll hop on the bus and I'll go down into Cebu City and have my fun weekend and come back. I don't need the city life every day. And so that'll save you a lot of money if you can get out of the big major cities and more time with family. And I think it's just more healthy time with yourself. You're going to find like I said, more active. Um, it's really hard to explain it without being there. But if you can imagine you're in a warm climate, beautiful water, beaches, you're bound to go walk the beach. You're going to be more active. You're going to be more physically active, which in turn means you're going to be more physically healthy. It just all goes hand in hand. One of the things I thought about in retirement, Zilla, I always think about this. If I stayed here, how much is this going to cost me a month? Even if my house is paid off, I still have property taxes, fixed expenses, utilities, car insurance, all that other stuff comes into play. And if you're not running a business, if you're on a social security income, you don't have as much income coming in. You got to think about stuff like this. Um, so I'm gonna probably have to go to bed soon, but this is a topic that I would love to discuss because I think there's a lot of folks, especially in our coin community, a lot of folks, I don't know people's ages, but I would imagine a lot of them are probably older than me. They're getting at this point in life. And it's just something to think about for all of us, man. Yeah, I'll tell you the one interesting thing, and this is a true statement after being there probably 15 trips, right? When I've flown in on the airplane, I have never seen an unhappy face, foreigners or anything. And when I'm there, I never see an unhappy face. Everybody's smiling, having fun, they're relaxed, right? Because I mean, you're there on the U.S. dollar, and your dollar's going far, and you're having fun. Nobody's like stressed out, freaking out. No one's worried about how am I going to pay my bills. And then when you're coming home, and you guys would experience this if you go, when you come back on the plane, you see a lot of sad faces, a lot of gloom, right? Because oh man, we got to go back. You know, and so and I don't blame my friends here because honestly, Zilla, my friends don't know any different. And I would be the same way. Because like I told you, if I never met her, I never would have went over there and I wouldn't know any different than anybody else. But trust me, guys, there's a better life out there. If you're looking at retiring on a social security income and you're worried about how you're going to struggle and get by, we got a plan B for you. Because I wouldn't want any of my friends stressed out every month. I'd say, why are you doing that, man? Trust me, we got a better plan for you. Now, going back to the medical side of things, that is the negative. And I tell my mom this: if I could tell somebody what is the negative, right? You never have all positives with anything. The negative aspect on this is the medical situation. Because if you go over there and you have a heart attack, it's probably all over, if you know what I mean. So that's where you do have to get your physical checkup here, get your medical, do your 1 year medical checkup, which is fine because I tell my friends this too. And when you're saving money every month, you're not spending as much money. That $1,000 plane ticket, that $1,500 plane ticket we just showed, you can work that in the budget, right? Maybe you got to take 200 a month, and that's your flight every year because you're going to have to leave the Philippines once a year anyway. They're going to require it. So you leave the Philippines once a year, you come back to the United States. When you're here for a couple of weeks, you're visiting family, hopefully, so you don't have to pay for a hotel. You're going to go make appointments with the primary care doctor, right? Get checked up, get your physical, get any x-rays, blood work, lab work, get all that done. Because if you can avoid it, I mean, like I was telling my mom, as long as you get your checkups done, then hopefully if there's a problem, they pick it up before you leave, because that's the only negative I can think of. I've went through all the scenarios. The only negative I could think of where I'm going is if I had a massive medical situation and I'm over there and I can't get back here. That would be bad news. So that's what I would tell anybody. That is the drawback. But I think that's the way around that. And you can put it in your budget. Like I said, you're not spending as much money, you're actually saving money. So your plane ticket should be part of your yearly budget so you can work that in when you retire. So I don't know what you think about that, Zilla, but that's kind of where that's the negative. That's the only negative I can think of. Probably not. No. You're not going to want to work over there. It's very low pay, as you would expect. Everything's cheap. Oh, down the bayou, someday I'm going to retire in the Philippines, but not till my son's all out of school and everything. So here's the deal, guys. I've thought about this too, right? If I wanted to work over there to make an extra income while I'm over there, what's something that I could do? Now, everyone's going to have different skills. You could put your own, it's all about cost, right? I mean, you're on your social security income over there. I don't know what your skills are, Z Rich. Maybe you could do some labor over there. You're not going to get paid like over here. You're going to get paid in pesos. But if you wanted some extra money, I mean, you could. But what I thought about doing, they actually have a U.S. consulate in Cebu. They've got the main embassy in Manila. They got a consulate in Cebu. Apply to work at the consulate. I mean, they do have jobs at the embassies and the consulate. You go on there, you can apply for. So that's one thing you could do is work for the consulate, maybe be an employee of the embassy, doing something in some capacity. But that would be a job. But what I was trying to get at, taking the job thing out of the equation, you know, um, I would say a majority of Americans, just from my experience here in my own town, my own city, I would think a lot of them, when they go to retire, they're not retiring on a pension. Most of them probably don't work for city government, county government. So they're going to have to try to figure out a way to live on Social Security income. And I just see that in our country, living on Social Security income is hard to do. But if you can take that dollar and go to another country where your dollar can go so much more farther, you could have a much better life. And then on top of that, go to a country where English is also an official language, so you don't have those language barriers, and you're going to feel more comfortable because you can easily interact with that local community. Um, I would think though, if you're like a plumber, electrician, or something in that aspect, what you could do over there is you probably could do a lot of trading labor. You could probably go up to your Philippine neighbor, someone go, hey, I'll help you with that electrical. If you can help me with my plumbing, you could do a lot of bartering, a lot of trading, do stuff like that. Yeah, Google Translate's good, but you don't even need it. I mean, in the Philippines, I'd say over 95% of them speak fluent English. There's no problem at all. Oh, maybe over 95%. The only very, very few that don't just never went to school, lived out in the province their whole life, but that's very few. Maybe less, I'd say less than 5%, maybe even less than 2%. And maybe just the older population, but I've never had any issues at all. But yeah, good topics. Good topics. I don't know, something to think about, guys. I think Puerto Rico would probably be. I've never been there, but the problem with Puerto Rico is it is a U.S. territory. So there again, you got the U.S. dollar. Probably more money there than I would want to spend. Puerto Rico, Guam, they're U.S. territories, and you're going to have U.S. dollar influence there. Anything close to the United States, you're going to have dollar influence. Bahamas, Canada, Mexico. I mean, Mexico's cheap, I'm assuming, in a lot of areas, but I'm sure there's a lot of areas that are real expensive because you border the United States. They'll call you Americano, American, GI, Joe. Yeah, so that's the problem with Puerto Rico, man. It's a U.S. territory and it's close to the United States. If you're close to the U.S., it's probably going to be expensive. You need to get as far away from here as you possibly can when you go to retire. That's just my 2 cents. So big love and hugs to you guys. Thank you for being in the stream tonight. I just want to do an open chat hangout, talk about traveling. Yeah, talk about the Philippines a little bit. I love talking about the Philippines, talking about just like we just did the end here, maybe retirement, things you can do. Tell you guys about my own experience, stuff that I never would have thought of if I didn't get to go where I went. Hector's in the house. Hector's retired. So there you go, Hector. You probably already know this. You could take that retirement income here and let those dollars work for you further somewhere else, you know? Big love and hugs to you guys. Thanks for coming in on the stream. Thanks to everyone who popped in on this stream. Hopefully you learned something tonight. I did have an open stream yard, so if you guys ever want to pop up, I'm going to try to do more of these because I just love talking about traveling and the future. It's important we talk about it too, man. We all need to plan our futures. Big love and hugs, everyone, and I'll see you out there in the community. Take care.